For about 60 years, there were no breweries in Red Wing.
That was until about 3 years ago when Red Wing Brewery opened on Old West Main Street, not far from the marina. So home brewers Scott Colby and William Norman turned their passion into a profession.
Scott joins us now for our Friday segment, Friday Tap Talk. Thanks for coming in.
Well, thank you for having us today. We're pleased to be here.
So I have been to your tap room down there in Red Wing. It's great. It is a great spot.
Well,
and you guys really brought back a tradition that time I think they were missing it, don't you?
Well, Red Wing had not had a brewery for about 60 years. And so when Norm and I decided to bring this tradition back again, we knew that there was a lot of history that was in danger of being lost. We wanted to bring as much of that back into the present again as we could. So and you'll see that when you visit the tap room.
Tell us how it got started. How did you and Norm meet up? Or were you friends for a long time?
We had been friends for a number of years. Norm taught me how to home brew, and together we had been making several batches on kitchen stoves, and which is kind of the common story in the industry here.
Right, right.
And so we decided to, once we learned about the rich history and the beer history in Red Wing, we decided that that would be a wonderful place to start this industry.
What were you doing before you were a brewer?
We both worked with the YMCA.
Ah.
Oh, fun.
So, which was a wonderfully rewarding career.
One of the things I really enjoy about what you guys are doing is that you really did richly research some of the beers that were a part, not just of Minnesota, but part of Red Wing history.
We did, Jason. In fact, we brought one, for example, right here. This is called Remler's Royal Brew. Remler's was a beer that was around since the 1800s. This is actually the 1896 recipe of this beer.
Really?
In fact, we'll be serving this at the Winterfest event next weekend at the St. Paul Depot, and also at the Wings and Brew Fest in Red Wing on Saturday, March 12th.
Well, they knew what they were doing back then because this beer is delicious. We had tried it in the commercial break.
It is fun to have a taste of a beer and transport you back to like, all right, this was the character of the beer that they were drinking at that time.
It really is. You know, there was a lot of German influence,
yeah,
but at the same point they were pulling in American ingredients, so it was authentically a Minnesota beer by the time the late 1800s rolled around.
So Jason's been to the brewery and to the tap room, but can you kind of give us a little description of what the atmosphere is like?
Well, it's cozy.
Yeah.
We have about 50 seats, but it's when you enter, we tried to decorate with as much of the pieces of old pieces of Brewiana from Red Wing as we could. We wanted to connect what was alive and well 60 plus years ago with what we have.
Well, you've done a great job with it. Scott, thank you for coming in. We'll bring Heather and Kate in because you have a root beer too, which my kids were very happy about that when we visited you.
Yes,
Sam and Seth really enjoyed the root beer.
They did. They were happy.
Tap talk so far.
That's right. That's right. Thanks,
How about you
Scott.
have this one?
Now in this root beer, this is we make this in our brew house as well. It's made with sugar and real maple syrup, and there's no caffeine.
Oh,
Very
that's
good.
very good.
So it's got a taste of kind of an old barrel candy flavor.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Scott will talk about this all day, but we have to tell you where you can read more about his brewery. Go to the local Tap Talk blog on WCCO.com for more on Red Wing Brewery Company and some other great local craft brews. Best pizza in Red Wing as well.
So thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott.